went under the wheels.
How perfected.
Welcome to Under the Wheels. I'm Matthew.
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Austin.
And today we're mixing it up with the Mandalorean Season 2. Brief disclaimer, I guess. We're going to be talking about everything leading up to the Season 2 finale. We're not going to be covering anything in the Season 2 finale. So if some of our information seems outdated after we talk about it, then you'll know why.
Yeah, none of us have seen the season finale.
Yes,
we've seen every episode up to. So we've seen 1 through 7. Well, Matt and I have seen 1 through 7. Gabe hasn't seen any episode of any of the show.
Yeah, and we've I've had the last episode spoiled for me, so I kind of have some additional knowledge, but I'm gonna try not to let that influence anything I'm talking about, even though inevitably it will. But I'll try not to allude to it that much.
Let me guess. Darth Vader comes back to life in the season finale.
Actually, they
don't answer that.
So the big twist is that Palpatine comes back. The episode is M-rated because you see like the half body of Palpatine with his he has spider legs and just like this like weird dick that he starts shoving up some like poor I don't know Mon Calamarian prostitute, and like there's Rey. So there you go. Spoilers confirmed.
Wow, now I'm even more excited to watch the season finale.
Dude, I mean, it's fine if it's Mon Calamari. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I have a couple things I want to say. Yeah, let's get into it. Well, I have a couple things I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or do you have something you would like to say before?
No, I'd rather you lead because I think it's going to be... I think I'm going to respond directly to your points on this more often than not, and we're just going to enjoy Gabe groaning in the background. So let's go to it. Go ahead, Austin.
I know Gabe probably wants us all to sit here and just trash this to high heavens. I'm not going to do that. I want to because I like doing that, but I'm not going to. I will say this. The Mandalorian is a perfectly good show. I'll say it's slightly better than decent. And I will say this. The first season, what I liked about the first season is that while they did have a little bit of the annoying fan service, it wasn't beating you over the head. It was a pretty self-contained
It was
story.
actually I thought it was good fan service.
Yeah, at first I was kind of annoyed with the Baby Yoda. I'm like, you guys really can't think of anything original at all. But Baby Yoda, while he is the catalyst for most of the plot lines of the story, he isn't distracting in an annoying way.
In the first season.
And we'll probably talk more about the first season later, but I want to get into the second season. Fast forward to the second season, and it's just... So, it's not only that it's just fan service, it's fan service for the fans of the garbage cartoon that I haven't watched. I'm just assuming is garbage.
I tried watching it. It is garbage.
Yeah, it's just I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm sorry, every name in this show is so stupid. Bo-Katan. And it's they slow motion, Katie Sackhoff takes off her helmet. She's like, I'm Bo-Katan, and looks at the camera. I'm like, oh my god. I was I'm assuming this has something to do with the cartoon. And then the next episode, Cory Booker's wife comes in, and I'm sorry, Rosario Dawson she's been in a lot of things. She's a lot more notable than Cory Booker's
Rosario
wife.
Dawson's huge in nerd culture.
I know Rosario Dawson has done a lot to be known more than just Cory Booker's wife. I wanted to throw that in there because I think
for God's sake, she's in NBA 2K20, super shoehorned in there.
Well, and she was in Alien vs Predator.
Oh, was she?
I think she was the lead in Alien vs Predator.
I think that was Sana Lathan.
I'm gonna have to look that up because I'm gonna look like an idiot. Alien versus.
While you look that up, let me delineate, because there's two types of fan service that the Mandalorian has. So there's the first season of the Mandalorian had fan service.
Real quick, I was wrong. Rosario Dawson is not in Alien vs Predator.
No, she was in Sin City and Sin City 2.
Sin City, yes.
Yeah.
My credibility is already shot 5 minutes into the episode.
But the first season of The Mandalorian had hints at fan service. It had mentions here and there. It was not super explicit, and it was it was like a surface level, or not a surface level. Like some of it was kind of deep cuts, but it was more interested in building its own universe with little bits of fan service peppered in, kind of like the first Iron Man movie. And then you have the fan service, and then you have the fan service that's in things like The Rise of Skywalker and The Force Awakens and like Rogue One, where it's like, let me bash your head over this clear attempt at signaling to you about the things that we already know a lot about. So I wanted to make that point, the difference. And the problem, like you're talking about the cartoon, one of the problems with the second season is that it focuses so much on the second type of fan service, where it's like, did you like, it's like the Disney self-imposed fan service where it's like, did you like this reference? Get ready to see it all again. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, yeah, like, because it's like not having watched, I feel like the second season, and I know Dave Filoni, who I believe is the show, I don't know if he was like the head writer or the show creator for the cartoons.
the show creator. Oh, yeah, of the cartoons.
No, for the cartoons.
Yeah, he's the spearhead of at least of Clone Wars and Rebels, I believe.
Not only was the showrunner of the cartoon, he was also the director of the Star Wars Clone Wars animated movie that everyone hates.
I didn't even know that existed.
I'll also say that, like, I give Dave Filoni a little bit more leeway, especially, like, there's an argument to be made about, like, Jon Favreau's importance in The Mandalorian. I'm always gonna give Dave Filoni, like, the benefit of the doubt, because he was so instrumental in setting up the first season of Avatar. So, like, and generally speaking, a lot of...
Oh my god, who cares?
Because Avatar Avatar's like one of the best shows on... it was one of the best shows on television to me.
Yeah, but Matt, you can be really good at what you do and still occasionally make something terrible. Or you could be really mediocre at what you do.
George Lucas directed... It's true, George Lucas directed A New Hope.
But I will also say that, like, I know... I've heard from a lot of people that outside of maybe the first couple episodes of the Clone Wars, the Clone Wars show does a lot more to expand outside of the Star Wars universe's like strict adherence to like Skywalker, Mace Windu. It attempts to tackle more interesting issues. I'm gonna assume kind of like how Avatar did, but anyway. So I will give Dave Filoni a pass because he was the director of the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and those first 2 episodes set the tone for most of the rest of that season, which was a little up and down.
Yeah, but the best 2 episodes, or the best episode, was directed by Taika Waititi,
which does not feel anything like the first 2 episodes. Yes,
that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I'm just gonna say this: like, the difference in skill level between the season finale of season 1 from like a directorial standpoint is so much higher than any other episode. It's like. Taika Waititi is obviously one of the hottest directors right now.
They gave him complete latitude to do whatever he wanted to in that episode.
Yeah, and it feels like a small movie. Whereas they've gotten some big names. Like I believe Rick Famuyiwa, he directed the latest episode, and then Robert Rodriguez directed a couple episodes.
Yep,
and I mean they're fine. It just I don't know. I don't feel that like really strong directorial touch that I felt in that one Taika Waititi episode.
Well, it's Disney. What do you expect? They're allergic to a directorial touch. They'll go into anaphylactic shock.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, they want everything.
I find it interesting that like Taika Waititi is the guy that they gave all that control to.
I think he just charms them because apparently like the director's commentary for Thor Ragnarok is just him making fun of the movie the whole time. So like
he probably walks in and starts talking, and they're just like, "Oh, he talks funny. Let him do what he wants."
That's what I think anytime I hear anyone from New Zealand talk.
Well,
okay, no.
Doesn't he play that character in Thor Ragnarok whose whole joke is just that he talks funny? Mm-hmm. Korg or whatever.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi seems self-aware enough to where he would like put these crappy like elements into one of his like American movies because he thinks it's funny, even though it's stupid.
But anyway.
But I was while we're on the subject of New Zealand accents, I will say Tamara Morrison has a really cool voice.
Yeah,
he does.
He definitely, He does. That's the best part of season 2 is Tamara
Morrison. And his fucking gut hanging out of the Boba Fett armor.
I know. I don't think that's him in a lot of those shots.
So Gabe, he put like at what he makes it explicitly obvious, like, "Oh, I'm Boba Fett," and then everyone's like, "Oh my God, I know who that is," and
then he looked at the camera.
Like,
you forgot he looked. He said, "I'm Boba Fett," and then he looked at the camera
and he winked. But then
he winked at the camera.
But like, so
his helmet winked.
So faceless Pedro Pascal has Boba Fett's armor, and Boba Fett's like, "Give me back my armor," and like and so he's like, "Oh no, I don't trust you because I don't know who the fuck you are," because like Boba Fett did nothing in the original trilogy. But when he finally does get his armor back and put it on, like the chest piece is just kind of resting on his gut because it just doesn't quite fit. So I laughed a little too hard about that.
I'm not sure if Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau or whoever's aware of this, but Boba Fett's dead. He died.
No, he didn't. He survived
canon,
in the Sarlacc pit.
He survived. He was someone carved him out of there, I'm guessing, because he then helped Mulan survive in the desert. So anyway,
I'm pretty sure he died because in episode 6 he falls into a giant monster that eats him, and then he dies.
And it burps. Well, it burps in the special edition.
And it burps because Boba Fett
eats him, and it's like, ugh.
Boba Fett's
you don't burp unless
like,
something's digesting.
Well, I mean...
But wait. I just rewatched Return of the Jedi, and I believe there's a line that says, "Oh, if you get eaten by a Sarlacc, you're digested for like 500 years or something stupid."
Yeah. And I mean...
So I'm sure that's how they could retcon that.
Yeah. And I forget if they explain exactly how he does it. I mean, in general, like if you're watching the show, like I'll just quickly... The stuff that they make Mandalorian armor out of is like... It's lightsaber proof, so there's a good chance that it would just survive. And
wait, then how did Jango Fett get his head chopped off?
Because of remember in Lord of the Rings when Legolas is like, it's a weak point at his neck. It was a weak point at his neck. So
yeah, Gabe.
God,
stop being a hater.
Can't you just like translate different movie trilogies to each other to make them? I don't know.
No, because here's what pisses me off, okay? Like, Dave Filoni and his entire fucking career seems to be, oh, let me dig up some dead person that people like because he has a cool outfit and make him the centerpiece of my show, and then we'll center the plot of my show around, hey, remember this cool-looking character who died? They're not dead. Yay!
Yeah, what is with Star Wars? Like, no characters stay freaking dead.
I think, like, George Lucas has this penchant for making bad guys that look really cool and then not realizing how cool they look and then killing them quickly. But in the meantime, everyone's imagination runs wild, kind of like Star Wars fans do these days. And they're like, oh my God. And then like afterwards, he's like, oh, if I had known Boba Fett was going to be so popular, if I had known Darth Maul was going to be so popular, I wouldn't have killed them off. I would have made them...
Well, but I mean, his standpoint
like
is if I had known I could have sold more toys of these guys, I wouldn't have killed them off.
Well, the thing is, he's still selling the toys.
Well, yeah, because thematically, like Darth Maul dying is fine. Here is the big problem with the Mandalorian and the Star Wars.
Yes, let's redirect this here. Yeah.
Whenever they do this stuff, it's like Boba Fett pops up, and then the Rosario Dawson turns to the camera and is like, "I'm looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn." I'm sure Gabe would have freaking chucked his lunch if he was watching and saw that.
Absolutely.
Because it was so. I was watching it with my wife, and I'm like, I literally like groaned when she's like, "I'm looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn."
I didn't realize the Emperor was in that episode.
And then it like holds. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just imagining like so many Star Wars nerds being like, oh my God. And just like so like I hate that crap. It's
well,
like,
so wait,
the dark
saber. Hold on.
When Disney came in and canceled all that expanded universe garbage, that was like the only thing I was happy about. I was like, oh, thank God I never have to hear about Thrawn again. I guess I was wrong.
So you were wrong. So here's the thing. I am a huge Star Wars nerd. Like, I like all of the movies except for Rogue One. Rogue One still pisses me off.
Which is funny because apparently everybody thinks it's the best Star Wars movie.
I know. Everyone's like, oh my God, The Mandalorian Season 2 is the best thing since Rogue One. And I'm like, well, yes, if all you like are surface level callbacks to things that you already know and like bullshit like that, then yes, you would like Rogue One and therefore Mandalorian. And like, I don't even hate all of the directions they go. I just think they do too much of it in one go. Because like you said, when he said Grand Admiral Thrawn, I was like, oh, cool, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And then I was like reflecting back on it, and I was like, so wait, is this show even about the Mandalorian anymore? Like, can we just...
yeah, therein lies the biggest problem, is that they're trying everything they can to make the Mandalorian not... Like, I'm like, if Dave Filoni just wanted to make a live-action Clone Wars series, he should have just freaking done that. Because it's like, the first season of the Mandalorian is so like...
Kenobi.
It's so like, oh, okay, this guy needs to get Baby Yoda to wherever it needs to be because of reasons. Fine.
Right.
But it's like, oh, now we got Katie Sackhoff and Rosario Dawson and the Darksaber. And it's not even that those things are in the show that annoys me. It's just how, like, horrifically annoying how obvious all of this is. Like, if you have, like, Mandalorian looking at a screen, and then like in a small little section it says like Grand Admiral Thrawn or something, like some kind of like in passing. I just hate like the close up of the character.
Like, yeah,
I'm
like
looking for Thrawn.
So here's why like episode 7 I liked a lot, is because it had to deal with a lot of the characters that were integral to the show itself and not the continuing expansion of the universe that will collapse on itself. Like, the fact that it was all about Mando and Bill Burr and their interactions, and their like the sort of conflict of like Bill Burr is challenging, you know, Mando's creed about this and that. It's like, okay, that's cool because that harkens back to the first season where a lot of it was driven by the character and not by some need to promote the next show. I don't have a problem necessarily with like, you know, Ahsoka Tano comes up and it's like, okay, that's cool because like we haven't really seen a Jedi, but now that we've seen a Jedi, the fear is, okay, next season, are we going to have like 18 episodes with Jedis? Is the show going to be saturated with lightsabers? Is the show going to stop going in its unique direction? Is it going to go in its obvious direction? The fact that like everyone in The Mandalorian in season 1 was like, what the fuck is the Force? Like, that's cool. That's good. That's a direction to go in. It helps to expand the world. Like, you get to see these perimeter, like, every episode that doesn't take place on a desert makes me happy in the show because I'm like, all of the planets in the Star Wars universe are fucking deserts. My problem with the first season of The Mandalorian is it just felt like a Saturday, especially the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and maybe parts of the 7th episode of the first season just felt like Saturday morning cartoon episodes, which is kind of reassuring. But also, I hate it when you take, like, things that are... Because, like, The Mandalorian is for kids. And then you kind of, like, try and make it all, like, grim, dark, and gritty. And you have, like, freaking... You know, you make it, like, super, like... This is the evil side of the world. It's dark. It's like...
Well,
this
Star
show's
Wars
for
isn't
kids.
For kids anymore, you know? I think...
It's for
man children.
Yeah, like... Kids like, you know, they like Spider-Man and Iron Man. They like the Marvel stuff and superheroes. They don't like Star Wars. Star Wars appeals to, like, adults with the brains of children.
I mean, that's why it appeals to me. But even then, like, I don't like... It's like creating a grimdark version of Santa Claus. That's what they want to do to Star Wars. Like, dude, Star Wars isn't dark. It's stupid. Like, part of the fun of it is that it's kind of stupid. And I like a lot of what The Mandalorian does, but the second season gets me worried because it's not interested in expanding its own universe. It's interested in expanding based off of what people already know. And that's not interesting to me. That's not worth rewatching.
Well, yeah, like, I will say this. I know we're crapping on it a lot, but I enjoy watching the show. I don't hate it. It's only those, like...
Let me also say this. Like, Gabe and I talked about it before, but Ludwig Göransson's score is awesome. So... It will always have a place in my heart.
Okay.
I like it.
I don't love it.
I think it's tonally appropriate and it's not like typical Star Wars, and that's nice. That's a good change. Especially
it's fine. It never stands out to me as like great, but what I am trying to say before Matt interrupts me once again.
Oh, don't worry, it's coming. It just happened. Sorry. Go ahead.
Wow, really? Yeah, definitely. Feels right at home being back. No, I will say this. Like, it's an enjoyable show.
Yeah.
I think the problem with me, and it could be the inner like contrarian in me, and like you can rip on me all you want because it might not even be fair criticism. It's just annoying when I see people all over social media acting like, oh my god, The Mandalorian is the greatest thing ever. And it's like, no, you're only saying that because it's an above average Star Wars thing, and we haven't had an above average Star Wars thing since the 80s.
I agree with most of what you said there, yeah.
And I will say this, like, I don't know, a lot of the action feels, to me, it feels outdated. Like the way they shoot and like stage the action. A lot of it, some of it is good, but some of it does feel a little outdated to me. It feels very TV. It feels very TV to me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like we've been spoiled in recent years with like Gareth Evans movies and like John Wick. It's like that action is so perfectly done. Whereas like in this, it all feels, I don't know, it feels very, like I said, it feels very outdated. I feel like action, the way we film action has taken such a huge leap in recent years that like, I don't know, just like, there's no, like, kinetic energy to the action. It's very, like, okay, we have a shot, and then Mandalorian is very slowly, like, punching stunt guys, and then, like, we cut to another shot. Whereas, like, when you watch, like, John Wick or The Raid or anything like that, it's, like, the camera is very, like, I don't know, it's moving a lot, but not in, like, a Taken kind of way. Right. It's, like, I don't know, it just feels more engaging to me, whereas I don't know, when... Like some of like the space chase scenes and all that stuff is fine. Like all the space stuff is fine. It's when they get into like the hand-to-hand combat, it just feels very, like I said, it feels very outdated to me.
Is it the Marvel?
And there's a lot of hand-to-hand combat in the show. So like I don't love that. And I mean, obviously like Dave Filoni has a background in animation, so I don't expect him to be like an action cinema like auteur. And obviously Jon Favreau has made a career of being like a very meat and potatoes kind of director. I don't know. It's just it's a fine show. I don't like it, and this happens with shows all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like when a show is above average, everybody swears by it. Like, oh my god, The Queen's Gambit is the greatest thing of all time. I'm like, I mean, it's a show about chess. I'm sure it's good, but I highly doubt it's better than like season 5 of Breaking Bad. I don't think it's like season 5 of Game of Thrones. Like. I don't know. I feel like there's so much crap out there now, so that when we get like something that's like pretty good, it's elevated to this level that it just really isn't at. And that's how I feel about, and I haven't watched the finale, so I could change my perspective on it. I doubt it. It just, I don't know. And sorry, I'm talking a lot right now, but I do want to make one more point because I just remembered it because I was thinking about it when I watched it. Did you guys play The Witcher 3?
Yep.
No.
So The Witcher 3 is like one of the best games ever. But one thing that's annoying about the game is there's a part of the main story that's just like a very long series of like, oh, you just missed her, go here and look for her there. Oh, you just missed her, go here and look for her there. And that's how I feel like the show is. It's just a really long like video game mission that just keeps trying to make itself longer for no reason. Because like the point, I don't know, like season 1 was like the same thing. It's like, oh, Baby Yoda got caught by the Empire. Mandalorian has to save him. I don't know if Baby Yoda is a boy or a girl.
They keep calling it a him, but yeah.
Okay.
They call it a him.
Sorry for assuming Baby Yoda's gender. Or Grogu?
Grogu. Or the child or kid. Please, like...
We're gonna call him Baby Yoda.
I want to, like... Ugh, I hate it when everyone... Because... And here's why. Like, yeah, I'm this nerd. I'm the one who's like, okay, Yoda was alive when this thing was born, so it's clearly not Baby Yoda. It's Lucasfilm's own damn fault that they never came up with the name for the species. But he's already 50 years old. Return of the Jedi happened at most less than 30 years ago, so there's no way he would be Yoda. So please stop calling him Baby Yoda. Anyway, that's my piece on that.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that is... Even I'm not that douchey.
Oh.
Where I'm going to have a
seriously.
Oh, no, that's... But you guys should know this about me already. Like, the little... it's always the little things that annoy me. Go on.
my overarching point is that the whole series so far, 2 seasons in, just feels like a very long video game quest where you're just trying to, like, literally, like, you're trying to take Baby Yoda to this one place, and it's this big open world game, and it takes 30 hours to complete, and that's fine because it's a video game. But at a certain point, you want to finish up that quest and start doing some other thing. Like, you want to play Witcher 4 and get, like, a different story. But you could still have the same characters, and you can have different stories within that character. And I know, like, a lot of shows follow one kind of overarching, like, one end goal for, like, 5 seasons.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like very lazy sometimes. Where it's like, okay, he's going to this planet, and then he's going to go to this planet, and then he's going to go to this planet. It's like, what is this show really about?
Well, it may not be the premise so much as the execution, because I could see a scenario where, you have your Mandalorian show, and you got the bounty hunter guy, and his goal is to take Baby Yoda to wherever they're supposed to go. And every episode is a self-contained story where it's just like they go to a new planet, have a little adventure. They don't really get any closer to achieving their ultimate goal, but the ultimate goal doesn't really matter because they're just having little adventures along the way, and the adventures are fun in their own way, which kind of sounds like how the first season is.
Yes.
And then, you could have a little fan service here and there, like, hey, remember that that Ruby's Diner from Attack of the Clones that Obi-Wan goes to? Here's a sly little reference to that, okay? Here.
Oh my god, Gabe, why did you just put that into the universe? That's gonna happen. They're gonna have that big fat dude.
Dexter Jetster.
Oh my god. No, actually, that's a really good point.
But that could be done really well for, a season of this is 8 episodes, so you could do you could squeeze 3 fun, entertaining seasons with just that and not really have to give it an overarching plot or connect it to the larger Star Wars universe or, like, piss on the lore in any way that creates problems for nerds.
I mean, that's a really good point because, that's essentially what Samurai Jack is.
Exactly.
It's
Samurai
like
Jack is probably
4 or 5 seasons of just him trying to get into the past. But most of those episodes are super entertaining because they have great, like, premises to every episode. It's like, Jack goes to this village that's been torn apart by, like, these crazy robots that he can't kill with his sword, so he has to do all this crazy stuff. That's a lot more interesting than...
that's the thing. It's like you can have a really fun, entertaining show where each episode stands alone, and then the show as itself stands alone, and it's just got a little bit of that Star Wars flavor to it that, people really love.
That was the first season, yeah. That's why the first season works, to me.
Yeah, even like the first season I didn't love. I did think some of those episodes were kind of lame. I'm going to say this.
I don't love it. I agree with you. I like the first season. I don't love the first season. Yeah.
I will say this. For some reason, whenever they have, like... And it was the same thing last season when they went and they had to do that, like, prison break. For some reason, the, like, practical makeup effects that they do on, like... people that, like, have, like, human features, like, I know they have aliens, like, those all look really good, but the aliens that have, like, human features in their face look terrible. Rosario Dawson looks so stupid. Me and my wife were watching it, and it was just, like, we were, like, laughing at how stupid she looked the whole time.
So, the prison episode that had, like, the makeup, it felt so much like an episode of either Firefly or Star Trek to me with the makeup get-ups. I was like, is this the next generation? Like, why are we watching an episode of Star Trek Voyager? So, but The Mandalorian is very derivative. Like, everything in the show makes it very Star Wars because Star Wars is very derivative.
Oh yeah, that's fine. You could be derivative.
And that's fine. And, like,
good.
the execution is good, but it doesn't like a lot of episodes reminded me of Firefly. A lot of episodes reminded me of Star Trek. It felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. The first season did, and, like, so to the point where, like, the second season came out, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it when all the episodes are released. But, like, I've been engaged with almost every single episode this season. Like, I'm like, okay, this is enjoyable, and that is one thing, but it does feel like it's relying too much on fan service. And I do want to talk a little bit about Jon Favreau, if I can.
Yeah, no, I will chime in. Like I said, it's good. It just, it It feels like every episode is to serve, not every episode, but it feels like at least like 2 or 3 episodes feel like it only exists for a spin-off show.
Right.
The episode with Rosario Dawson and the episode with like Katie Sackhoff, it feels like, okay, because both of them talk about like, they have these, like Rosario Dawson's character is looking, what's the name of the character?
Ahsoka Tano.
Ahsoka Tano is looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Okay, she has her show. And then Bo-Katan, Katie Sackhoff's character, and I only remember that because that name is so stupid, which I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate for. It's the dumbest name in all of Star Wars. Bo-Katan. It's so stupid.
I don't think it's the dumbest name in all of Star Wars, but
it sounds like a board game. It sounds like a crappy board game.
Isn't Bo-Katan a place in Florida?
No, that's Boca Raton.
No, Boca Raton, yeah.
It's a joke.
Let me chime in on some of your points, Austin, because like I agree with you for the most part. I think the thing that kills me the most is like it's a decent to good show. Like I enjoy the process of sitting down and watching it. I think the fan base, and it kind of does this all the time, I think the fan base kind of kills it, and I hate to alienate Star Wars fans, but here's an example. Revenge of the Sith comes out. Oh, finally, the prequel movies, we finally have like the perfect prequel movie. And then a couple years later, people are like, no, it's not very good. Everyone turns on it. Force Awakens comes out. Oh yeah, J.J. Abrams saved Star Wars. And then people kind of turn on. They're like, this is kind of a lot like episode 4. And then The Last Jedi comes out, and it's completely divisive. But the people who like it are like, oh yeah, Rian Johnson has saved Star Wars. The people who don't like it are like, oh my God, I wish Rian Johnson were dead. He ruined Star Wars. and then the first season of Rogue One comes out, and everyone's like, oh yeah, like Star Wars is back, baby. And it's like, I feel like every single time, like Star Wars doesn't really need saving. I don't really care what they do with it because they were still making money by putting out the cartoons that I'm sure a lot of kids grew up with and really enjoyed. Like if I were a kid, I probably would have watched the Clone Wars cartoon and the Rebels cartoon because I watched Beast Wars, and Beast Wars looks like ass. So I would have watched something that looked like ass if it had lightsabers and a lot of cool fighting, or even a lot of decent fighting. So like
Phantom Menace was mind blowing when I was a kid.
Like Phantom Menace was mind blowing.
I was like, what, 5 when that came out? I saw in theaters, and my freaking mind exploded into a million pieces. I watched it
backgrounds
recently,
of the Rens,
and it's pathetic. It's like it feels like a freaking sci-fi movie, like Sci-Fi Channel movie.
It's rough. It's rough.
Well, I think that's the thing with Star Wars is like no grown adult has ever seen Star Wars for the first time and thought, wow, this is really something special. I'm super into this now. Anytime you show, like, if there's an adult who's never seen Star Wars and you show them Star Wars, 9 times out of the 10, they're going to be like, that was whatever. Okay, I guess.
Are you saying that
you're talking about episode 4
with consideration to the original trilogy, too?
Just anything, pretty much.
You don't think people would like the original?
I think you would find it's a fun action movie.
Let me make my point.
The original trilogy holds up.
Let me make my point. Yes, the movies do hold up.
Okay, make your point. Sorry.
But the reason why Star Wars is special is not because you show an adult the original trilogy and they go like, oh yeah, those are pretty good. They're not gonna like fall in love with the movies though. I don't think. I think what makes Star Wars special is that like a lot of people see various iterations of it when they're kids, whether they grew up in the 70s and 80s. Or whether they're like us and grew up in the 2000s. And the movies themselves may be great, good, bad, or somewhere in between, but what they do is they spark your imagination as a child. Like, you know, you go to all these different worlds, see all these different aliens, see all this cool shit, and it just makes your imagination go crazy thinking about like, oh, what else could be out there in this universe that I can imagine? And I think that the reason why the fan response to Star Wars is so bizarre and so divisive is because I think a lot of people, you know, had that experience and they're trying to compare every new piece of Star Wars media to sort of the hope of wonderful and strange adventure that they had in their head as a child when they were first introduced to it. And I think a lot of people who... I think that comprises a lot of the negative reactions and a lot of the backlash, but it's also, I think, there's a lot of people who are kind of desperate to feel that again. And a lot of the positive reactions that don't make sense, like people just falling head over heels in love with really crappy movies and properties that have come out recently that are Star Wars related, I think it's because they love the idea of Star Wars. They love that feeling of, boundless adventure across the vast, unexplored,
galaxy,
outer space, yeah. And they're so desperate for something that inspires that feeling again that they'll cling on to legitimate pieces of garbage like Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker is my trash. I still watch it and enjoy parts of it a lot.
No,
but I don't think it's
kind
good.
Of like...
But I don't think it's good. Like, I think it's enjoyable to watch, and that's what I feel like for most of the Star Wars movies. Is like they're enjoyable to watch. I have a good time. Like you said, it's not like it defined my childhood, but it's not something that continues to define my childhood. Right.
Kind of like harping off of what Gabe said. I remember just like yesterday or 2 days ago, I could be getting the specifics of it wrong, but after like the episode came out, something like "Thank you, Jon Favreau," or "Thank you, Disney,"
oh my
God, something started trending on Twitter.
It was a picture of Jon Favreau over Fix-It Felix Jr.'s face and say, "I can fix it."
Yeah, and it's like people are like thanking him for like doing this. I'm like, why don't you thank like real artists who are like sacrificing they have skin in the game, like people who are making like real movies that don't have a big studio behind them. We're in the middle of a freaking pandemic, and we're like going out of our way to thank millionaires for doing something that somebody less reputable could have done it better. Like, you're telling me that if who's somebody who isn't a big name who could have
Gareth Evans.
Yeah, Gareth Evans could have put together a better Star Wars show than Jon Favreau, probably. There are people like the Benson and Moorhead. They make a lot of like really good sci-fi indie movies. Like, those guys probably could make an awesome Star Wars TV show because they have unique ideas.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, but we're not. And they have a movie coming out, and I don't see anybody saying, "Oh, thank you, Benson and Moorhead." Like, thank you, Gareth Evans. Like, thank you, like all these great filmmakers. Let's focus on the rich people who are, and I'm not trying to turn this into like a rich man bad thing, but it's like, why, like, I don't know, this like the whole like all the sycophants around this. It's like, dude, shut up.
Right.
Like, well, it's like all the people who dress up and go to Star Wars Fan Fest and cheer when Kathleen Kennedy announces the next slate of, movies and TV shows that they're going to make.
Yeah, because I want to see Rogue Squadron.
Because it's like, well,
amazing.
A, you don't know going in what they're going to... Hold on. You don't know going in what they're going to announce. Two, I can almost guarantee you that whatever they announce is going to suck. But it's just that people get whipped up in that Star Wars fervor, because it's like... Again, I think it's that ideal. They have this attachment to the idealized version of Star Wars they had as a kid, and anything that can kind of satisfy that feeling gets them really excited.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard, and I hate it because I don't want to sit here and be a hater. I like Star Wars. Like, I grew up watching the movies like everybody else. Like, I want to enjoy it, but it's like the whole like fan culture around it is just so like mind-numbing to me, and it's so like frustrating that they're serving up a piece of crap, and sometimes they'll put some seasoning on it. Other times they just give you crap. But either way, you're going to eat it up and you're going to say that you love it. It's like that just irritates me because it gives them no incentive to like actually make something good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's taking attention away from like real movies that get made, like Possessor, like great sci-fi movies that are coming out that nobody's ever going to see because they're too busy watching like the Mandalorean. They're too busy watching frigging Jango Fett flying around in his spaceship and like crying because they're so happy about it. Like,
yeah, well, it's just like, I grew up with Star Wars as a kid. I watched Phantom Menace when I was a little boy, and it blew my mind. And like, I watched The Empire Strikes Back without having it spoiled for me, and I was devastated by it. Mm-hmm. And I loved Star Wars, and I thought it was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, I can't my tiny little child brain can't even fathom like what other awesome things could be out there in this universe. But by that same token, it's like, you know, when I was a kid, I used to really like Naruto. I think Naruto is fucking terrible now.
Oh,
Naruto?
I don't watch Naruto, but talk about hot takes.
Like, it's just, you know, I grew up. Star Wars is fine. I don't care anymore. I don't like Star Wars anymore. You know?
Oh, yeah, it's
like,
okay.
Those movies
I don't have
will
a
always
problem.
be fun and entertaining, and
You
I
don't-
really like a lot of the clever ways that the original trilogy kind of takes fantasy tropes and turns them on their head with a little 70s cynicism and a lot of the Jungian psychological ideas that George Lucas plays with. But yeah, you know, it's fine. They're just fun adventure movies. They're kind of shitty now because it's been around for too long. It's too played out. It's over. They're beating a dead horse for more cash because it works. They do get cash out of it.
Well, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's built up. Star Wars has been built up to this thing that it really isn't. And it's just frustrating to, like, watch so many people, like, just fawn over it so much. And I don't know. It's I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, I don't want to hate it. It's just at a certain point, it's like, okay, like, let's get something new.
Yeah.
Like, Star Wars, like, I'm worried that, like, this is cinema for the rest of our life. It's Star Wars, it's Marvel, it's DC, it's Harry Potter, it's Lord of the Rings. Like, that's all we're getting. Like, the blockbuster is dead. No other movies that aren't based on other IP are ever going to come out. And that just kind of bums me out. I'm like, okay, well, how many, like, great writers and filmmakers do we have out there that if you gave them $150 million to make a movie can make something new and mind-blowing and amazing? But that's just never going to happen again. And I think Star Wars, that franchise, is, like, a very big part of why, like, original big-budget movies are dead.
Yeah, it's just, I think, you know, they're continually trying to repackage and resell my childhood back to me, and I don't want it. I want something new and interesting. And, you know, kids today have their own stuff that they like, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's certainly not Star Wars.
No, nobody. The people who are keeping Star Wars alive are man-children. Like, little
Guys,
kids
we've
don't care
literally
about Star
talked
Wars.
for like 45 minutes about Star Wars. Clearly, we're part of the issue.
No, we are trying to tear down Star Wars. We're trying to open people's eyes. And like I said, like, I don't think a lot of, like, I don't hate Force Awakens. I don't hate Rise of Skywalker. Like, I find some enjoyment in the prequels because they're just kind of dumb fun. And there are good scenes. Yeah, there are good things in all of them, like the Darth Maul fight and the pod race. Like, that stuff is fun. Attack of the Clones is, like, so shockingly bad that it's kind of entertaining. Like, that, everybody talks about the Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones might be the worst, like, movie of that, like, status.
Yeah,
that
it's rough. It's rough.
It is, like, shockingly bad. Revenge of the Sith is a decent movie. The only ones I really don't like are Rogue One and The Last Jedi. So, like, I like The Mandalorian. So it's just, why can't things just be okay anymore? Why can't things, like, people are gonna hear this and just, like, say that we're, like, haters, but it's like, I think all of this stuff is okay. I think Star Wars is okay. There is middle ground. It's not, oh my god, freaking, he brought out the dark saber, and they're talking about Thrawn, like, I'm gonna start writing, I'm so excited. And then there's, like, the Gabe end where it's like, this is trash, I don't want anything to do with it. It's like, you can be in the middle and be like, like, it's good. I enjoy watching it. It's gonna leave my brain, like, a day after I watch it, but it's fine. It's like, no, everything has to be an extreme. You have to post your fandom on Twitter and be like, thank you so much, Jon Favreau, for saving Star Wars. I want to worship you. We need to make him a new deity. It's like, dude, Jon Favreau... This might be a good segue into Jon Favreau, and I can let Matt take the floor if he's ready to talk about Jon Favreau.
I've been fucking ready for 15 minutes.
Okay. I noticed you got kind of quiet, so I think Favreau is a good...
I literally been trying to say things for like 15 minutes.
Okay. The floor is yours, my friend.
Shit, dude. Okay.
Put your cock back in your pants and talk about Favreau.
Dude, Matt is just soaked in pre-cum from having to wait.
I just hear like that's all I hear right now.
First off, fucking shit, guys. First off, like the thing that really did start tipping me off to be like annoyed about the season was the fact that people were like, Jon Favreau saved this just like he saved, and I'm like, what else did he save? Like, yes, he started the MCU technically with the first Iron Man movie, but then he also made the second Iron Man movie, and nobody talks about the second Iron Man movie. Sure,
yeah,
he
they
kind
conveniently forget that.
Yeah, he brought, and again, the second Iron Man movie has almost all the same problems that the second season of The Mandalorian has in terms of fan service. He did the live action Jungle Book movie, and people were like, "Oh, this is great! Like, this is the first good live action Disney movie." And then he did The Lion King. So, like, Jon Favreau is. I don't hate him. I actually really like his movies. I was a big fan of the first Iron Man movie. I tracked it when I first heard of it because I liked him in Daredevil, because he was one of the bright spots as Foggy Nelson in the first Daredevil movie. So, like, Favreau has a good feel for fan base.
I'm sorry, you just, like, threw that out there and just moved on. That's interesting.
Well, like,
you just praised the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie and just moved on. I respect it, though. You can...
The Ben Affleck Daredevil movie isn't good. The director's cut is significantly better, but it's still not what I would call a good movie. But, like, there are people in that movie who are trying their ass off to do something good in it. And like, Favreau... did you say it, Austin, or did you say it, Gabe, that he was a very meat and potatoes director, but he's a good actor's director? Like, there's a lot of good relationship stuff in that first episode of the second season of The Mandalorian. Like, that's fun. It's a little, the episode's paced really weird, but, like, to say that he is the savior of Star Wars is a little misleading, because, again, it's still a franchise that's making billions of dollars. They're still selling billions of dollars of toys. And, like, the second season has proven that, like, maybe it's good to give him some control and then maybe start either taking it away or giving him a new project to work on. Because, again, he's also the director of Cowboys vs. Aliens, which is, like, it's a fun movie, but I don't think it did the gangbuster numbers they were hoping it would do. So, like, as far as Favreau saving the Star Wars universe, I think it's grossly overrated. And it goes to the whole, like, I like the fandom of Star Wars to a degree. I like individual fans. I like talking with them. I like the fact that it keeps things interesting and alive. I don't have a problem with Star Wars being a thing that people go back to, because for a while people thought they wouldn't make anything but Bible movies, and then those went away. So I'm not as worried about, like, the total collapse of the, like, all we're going to get is superhero movies and Star Wars movies. Like, something will come and we'll get more indie movies out there and we'll get more unique and original ideas out there. But the double-sided coin of that is, like, the internet has made everything, like, hyper focused. So now you can't just be like, oh man, Star Wars is cool. I like lightsabers because they sound like humming noises and they look really pretty on the screen. Now it's like, did you know that you got the lightsaber color wrong? 10 things that Star Wars does better than everything else, and 5 things that it does abysmally. It's like all of the articles, all of the useless articles that come out that hyper analyze every little thing and spoil every single thing. It's like, it's enough. Just take a page back. And I think that's really what, like, is helping to ruin engagement of Star Wars with me, because I still don't think there's a problem. I like the fact that there's a huge extended universe through the novels, because they have cooler characters in the novels and they have interesting dynamics and things like that. But it's fun. It's not supposed to be something where, like, your life depends on it being good or bad. It just needs to be solid.
Well, what they really need to do, and I was super annoyed when they said they were making Rogue Squadron with the director of Wonder Woman. I'm like, oh my god, it's the most obvious thing you could have done.
Can we have a de-aged Wedge Antilles in there?
Well, my thing is like, do something interesting. It's Star Wars. You could slap Star Wars on anything and it's gonna make money as long as, like, it has a good trailer. I know Solo didn't make a lot of money, but that movie just looked crappy. It's like, make a Star Wars movie. It doesn't have to do with anything. It doesn't have to do Rogue Squadron. It doesn't have to be Rogue One. It doesn't have to be Skywalker. Do it about some dude who lives in a different galaxy that has nothing to do with anything. I'm down with that. I can get back on the Star Wars train if they're willing to show, like, if they want to give, like, young, talented directors, like, free reign, not free reign, but be like, we need to start mixing this up. Like, go to Gareth Evans and be like, we want to start mixing this up. Like, can you give us an idea for a movie that has nothing to do with anything? And that could be a great way to give, like, smaller filmmakers a way, because anybody's going to watch a movie that has Star Wars in it. It's like, hey, Gareth Evans, I'm going to give you $50 million, make The Raid in space with a Jedi. Like, that would be awesome. I would watch that.
That would be the end of Rogue
as long as
One.
it has nothing to... It could be on his stupid casino planet. There's your connection to the other movies.
So,
The Raid in space, or, I don't know, just something interesting and original. Yeah. The problem is like, I don't want to see Rogue Squadron. I'm not going to see that movie. I refuse to watch more of the same bullcrap that I'm over. Like, I want to watch... And I thought The Mandalorian was going to be that. Yeah. I heard it was going to be like this cool space western, and it kind of was in the first season, and now it's just the Star Wars Rebels, the show, or Star Wars The Clone Wars live action, whatever.
Yeah, well, there's a quote from Kathleen Kennedy that I think gives a good idea into the mindset of the people making these. They were asking her about, the Star Wars movie trilogy that was just finished, and she said, every one of these movies is a particularly hard nut to crack. There's no source material. We don't have comic books. We don't have 800-page novels.
Which is both false.
And it's like...
You have infinite money and the entire world to pick the brains of people who are smarter and more creative than you.
Exactly. It's just like, it's so hard to make Star Wars because we don't have other people's ideas that we can adapt, which is, like, that statement in itself is discouraging because it's like, oh, we're scared to think of something original. But two, all they've done so far is adapt other people's stuff. They're adapting throwaway pieces of the expanded universe that people like. They're adapting, the freaking George Lucas's movies,
I bet you if you gave us 24 hours, us three together could think of probably a pretty good idea for an original Star Wars movie that has nothing to do with any of that crap. And, like, we're not professionals.
Again,
I'm sure.
Battlefield 2 was released on PlayStation Plus for free, and I was playing through the story mode, and, like, again,
wait,
maybe it's
Battlefield 2 or
Battlefront 2?
I was like, story mode, Battlefield. What?
Battlefield.
You don't have anything better to do?
Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it's like the story mode is fine, it's serviceable, it's got elements here and there that are good, and, like, that's all I need. I feel like people try and overcomplicate how complicated or how this or that Star Wars needs to be. Like, I'm a fan. I'm probably going to be a fan for life. I was born and bred in it, and, like, I don't care what they do with it. I'll still go out and see it because I just enjoy it. Like, I have turned off the critical part of my brain that is like, this needs to be transcendent. It doesn't. The fact that people think it does is a little alarming. But also, like, I'm with you guys in that, just as far as adapting things, Star Wars is a clone of everything that came before it. It is a derivative series. So I don't have a problem with them being derivative in their media. I don't have a problem with The Mandalorian being Lone Wolf and Cub mixed with Cowboy Bebop.
You can do that. Like, they were talking about, like, Zack Snyder making a Star Wars version of Seven Samurai.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's fine.
Well,
that sounds cool.
If someone else other than Zack Snyder were doing it, that would be awesome.
I don't mind derivative. If they, like I said, The Raid in space, that's super derivative. Yep. We have a bunch of movies that are like The Raid. Maybe not in space, but we have a bunch of movies that are like The Raid. I don't care if you're, like, taking other ideas. I don't care if you're making Alien, but in the Star Wars universe.
Don't
just,
make derivative
Star Wars.
Something
that doesn't have to do with Yoda or Skywalker or Rebels or Clone Wars or the Old Republic or Rogue Squadron or Rogue One, like Han Solo. I don't want any of it. I just want something different. Because unfortunately, like, all we're gonna get is Star Wars movies forever. Those are the only movies that are gonna get big. Those are the only movies
I don't know how.
So at least have fun with it.
I think Star Wars is going towards television shows. I think they're nervous to put anything back in theaters because Rise of the Skywalker, not Rise of the Skywalker, didn't do as well as they wanted to. So now they're nervous, and they know that they can get big money and big views if they put it on television shows. So they're going to do television shows because it's safer and it's going to be a little bit cheaper in the long run. So we're actually not going to get a lot of Star Wars movies.
They'll make movies.
They will.
That box office. Because, like, it's, I mean, yeah, subscribers to Disney Plus, like, that's money, but, I mean,
they will, but they're not going to make
$1.5 billion in the box office in, like, a few months is probably more appealing than.
I think they see the idea of putting out movie year after year and not letting it gestate a little bit. They see that that's an issue. Like, if they put out a movie every 2 years, like if they had Rogue One come out 2 years after The Force Awakens and then The Last Jedi 2 years after, one, it would allow all of the storylines to come better, and two, they wouldn't feel nervous about rushing movies out. I think like they're gonna probably focus more on Disney Plus content, television shows, and then release a movie every 3 years.
Yeah, I think they should only do big movies every 3 years. I think it would be cool if they did like small Star Wars movies, and it kind of goes back to the idea I was talking about, like giving like talented indie filmmakers a chance. Like, why not give somebody $15 million to make like a Star Wars horror movie that they just put up on Disney Plus? Like, the risk is very low on that, but the reward can be very high.
Josh Trank, Fantastic Four. That's all I have to say about why they don't want to do that. But Austin, Gabe, I'll let you finish.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, I'll let you guys have the last word on this. I think I've said my piece enough, and I guess you guys close this one out.
Yeah, I think I'm sure we'll talk about Star Wars ad nauseum in the future, especially whenever they have a new thing come out. But
one reference, yeah, we always seem to make at least one reference to it. I do, at least.
Yeah, but yeah, Gabe can close us out, and then we can wrap this up.
Star Wars cringe. The end.
Eloquent.
Gabe,
well
eloquently commenting on pop culture in general. But yeah, I mean, like Austin said, I think The Mandalorian is still, it's probably like for me, it's a witness. What would you give it, Austin?
I'd say it's a witness. Like I said, it's not bad. It's like if you take out the Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Rebels references, I don't know if there's any Rebels references or Clone Wars. I don't know the difference between the two. If you just take out that stuff, like, it's a pretty good show. I audibly like groan every time that stuff happens because I don't care. I didn't watch the cartoon. I'm not gonna watch the cartoon. Like, we have this own separate show. I don't want to get into it again, but we have this own self-contained show. Let's have this own self-contained show. We don't need references. Not everything needs to be a reference. That's all I have to say about The Mandalorian Season 2.
I think that that just about covers it. Gabe, do you want to do the our plugs?
Oh, shit.
I'll do it. So you can download our podcast on iTunes, and also... Why are you laughing?
Go on, Austin.
You know, you guys. Do us a favor and check out the website, underthewills.com. You could also follow us on Facebook, just at Under the Wills. I don't think Facebook does ads, but you do facebook.com/underthewills. You could also find us on iTunes and YouTube. And that's about it, unless there's more that I'm missing.
Underthewillspodcast@gmail.com is where you can harass us if you don't like our takes on Star Wars.
Yes, message us on Facebook, too. That's easier for us.
Yeah, that's true. No one really does email anymore.
Yeah, I guess not.
I haven't checked the email. Have you guys been checking the email?
Yeah, I check it every time I post. Well, that was The Mandalorian Season 2. I'm Matthew.
I'm Gabe.
I'm Austin.
And you've just been Under the Wheels.
Sorry. My brain is slowly turning into sludge every time we talk about Star Wars. I'm a little slow on like the cues.
Wait, did you say underthewills@gmail.com?
Underthewillspodcast@gmail.com.
You know that I'm like paying money for us to have like an @underthewills.
Yeah, but like, what do we have an email address just for general stuff?
Admin. You know what? You could probably edit this out. I'll make a podcast @underthewills.com email.
That works.
Yeah. I mean, we're paying for it. Might as well use makes it seem legit. Like I said, edit this out.
I'm so inclined.
Here,
not
I'll
to,
make a loud sound so you know where to find it.
No. You don't have to. No.
Finish.